Good morning, traders. Ooh, I sound rough. Hang on one second. Good morning, traders. It is 8:03 a.m. on Tuesday, the 18th of August, 2020. Thanks for joining me this morning for another Trader Bite. This is episode number 1821. Derivatives trading is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, risk allocation or the overall market allocation is to risk. Again, I want to remind everyone that crude has rolled to the October 2020 contract CLV20 or CLV0 if you're monitoring crude oil. Um, Crude is the weakest of the bunch, down 22 cents, trading at 42.95 in October, or 0.5% down. The leader today is gold. Gold popping 20 points, trading at 20.19 even, up 1%. The pound is up, the euro's up, the yen is up. So those are all safety assets, and they're at the top of the leaderboard, followed by the Nasdaq, which is up 50.25 points for new all-time highs, and that represents about a 0.47% increase. The S&P is up 6 points, trading at 3385.75. So that's where we stand today. Really, nothing has changed from day to day. We still have a market that is hanging on to higher values, higher prices, and that's just how she goes. So that's where we stand this morning. Looking at the calendar, we got U.S. building permits and housing starts as expected. We get API a crude oil stock change at 4:30 today. That's different than the EIA crude oil stock change. And then tonight we get the Japanese balance of trade at 7:50 p.m. Eastern, expecting a deficit of 120 billion yen. That's where we stand in terms of what is scheduled. To jump right in and look at the review segment of what was expected yesterday. Yesterday, really, we're opening in a gap, and the expectation, the primary expectation, is a small pullback. Oops. Small pullback, and then a push higher to consolidate, and then a squeeze into the 33.91 area before it sits. The secondary is basically what happened is a squeeze higher, a pullback to approximately the high of the prior session down here at 73.50, and then sits sideways, and basically a resting day. The secondary scenario is a test up, test down, and just go sideways. This is what actually happened yesterday. Yes, this is yesterday. it's so tight. One of the tightest ranges in a long, long time. And what we did is we pulled back within 2 ticks of the prior high, which was 73.50. We have basically a 2-tick gap. I'm not bothering to mark that. 73.50 to 74, and then it found its buyers and up to 82.75, and basically that outlined the range for the day. The profile yesterday was super balanced, hyper balanced, if there is such a thing, with relatively low volume. Look at the volume yesterday, 564,000 contracts for the day session. Folks, that's basically the kind of volume we would get on a holiday, and we had that during the session yesterday. So really, it's almost like the market finally remembered that it's in the summer and that summer trading is in effect, and decided that yesterday was the day off. So 564,000 contracts, and if we look at the profile, we see that we built this beautiful shelf here. You can see it a little bit better in the market profile. So when we look at the market profile, we see that we have just a fantastic ledge right here at 81, at 81 quarter, and the market just held that area pretty well. And then we're above it this morning. We're trading at 33.85, 85 and a half. Right now, we're above that. Not seeing any cause for buyers to back off. Really, honestly, I just don't see a good argument for shorts here. Structured shorts. We got to trade what we see, not what we want or believe. And so this is where we stand. We have a market that is really not giving up any room for sellers. We've migrated the point of control higher. We've definitely migrated value higher since we traded above the prior day's range, and there's a lot of structure beneath. So as I forgot to extend this profile here. Let me do that real quick. So this is what we built yesterday, right here. This is what we built yesterday. We have a lot of structure. When we look at the MC below us, we have a ton of structure. Even though there wasn't much volume, the delta was just continuously climbing yesterday. The rotations are clearly higher on the buy side than the low side. Rotations down were bigger. The rotations up were bigger than rotations down, and we have a new all-time high by one tick at 82.75 from 82.50 last week. That's where things stand in terms of what it's done overnight. Now we're going to look at this chart, which needs to something. There we go. Yesterday, I drew this trend line pretty early on, and then we tested it a couple times during the session, and it held up pretty well. I don't trade off of trend lines. I use them as an idea of what what the overall picture is. You can see that the parallel to the trend line is a little off and stuff, and it doesn't matter. It does give me an outline of what the market is doing. Just ping-ponging across a channel, and we could see that in the overnight it weakened a little bit, poked through, and now we're coming in from below, and we tested from below in the overnight session at 88.75, and we're holding steady here. The overnight profile, first of all, the volume overnight is okay, 193,000, but the profile overnight has two distinct distributions. It's spent a fair amount of time in this area down here, and a fair amount of time, or more time, and spent more volume really in the area up here. We have basically a low volume node at yesterday's high of 82.75. We have a low volume node right here, and it's the dividing line, and currently it's where the full session VWAP is. And so that's where things stand. The delta is positive. Overall, the overnight inventory is somewhat mixed, tilted to the long side, but mostly mixed. And today is likely to be another day of just grinding higher in today's RTH session. There's really not much I can offer here in terms of yesterday. I did not fire off a trade at all. Yesterday, really, I didn't see anything worth sticking my neck out for, and so I didn't trade at all. I spent the day working on a whole bunch of other stuff, and didn't trade. This is not my kind of trade here. It could be decent scalping, but I'm not interested in putting something on and just having it sit there for an hour to get 2.5 points or something like that. So today we have a wider range overnight than we did yesterday during the day. The range is 71.50 to 88.75 is pretty decent. And it's a Tuesday. Generally, Tuesdays tend to have us expand the range, and I'm expecting that this morning. So where does that leave us? Well, for the minute, let me show you what the order flow looks like. This is CT Bookmap. Overall, what do things look like this morning? It's really it's there's not much we can glean from this view right now. There's a fair amount of liquidity just above. As you can see, there's the color comes in a little bit higher. The areas that I outlined yesterday in terms of liquidity are still in play. We did have 85 as an area of liquidity from yesterday, and it did have that liquidity here. It came in after it got tested, so it's no longer really material. The other area I pointed out is 91, okay, and then 95, 96, and that's where the bulk of the liquidity is this morning. I think we're going to likely, in my opinion, we're likely going to grind our way up and continue to do so. Just not seeing a good cause for me to think that this thing is starting to fail over. I mean, it put out pretty good signs last week that a rotation down is likely to come in, but it didn't really push far enough at all. So let's dive in. We're 15 minutes past the hour, 12 minutes in. Let's dive into what's expected for today. Yeah, I don't know anything about Thinkorswim. I don't really use the service. I have an account, but it's for other purposes. Um, okay, so what are we expecting here today? We're trading right here at 83.75. We are quite close to the 88.75 to put in new all-time highs. We do have 81.75 below us at the VWAP. We have this 81 area from yesterday. This shelf right here from yesterday. It is there's a lot of structure in this area. My expectation is an open auction in this high volume node from yesterday. I'm looking for to respond back, push down into the 81, potentially the 79.50 area point of control before it finds buyers and squeezes the high on its way to 91 before it consolidates again. Not expecting a lot of range. Again, we are seeing the depths of summer trading, so I'm very tempered in terms of range and expectations. 11, 12 points is pretty decent for this time of year. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the quality of the pullback into 81 or 79.50. Anything below in this situation, anything below 80, 86 or so is just telling us that the market's not able to hold on and may see 71.50 and then 64. So for now, that's what I'm looking for to the upside. That's the higher probability play. The secondary scenario is an open that brings us back to the high, squeezes the high into 91, consolidates, rounds off a top, and then we get an impulse down back into the open, consolidate here for a while, and then start to test value low of yesterday, consolidate, and poke through before it holds steady. This would have been a very good week to take a vacation. I'd have very little expectations for this week, especially since the calendar doesn't have all that much in it. Remember, tomorrow we have the inflation rate out of Great Britain and loan prime rate and the FOMC minutes tomorrow, and then Thursday, we have initial claims, Philly Fed, and that's it. GFK, consumer confidence out of Great Britain, the inflation rate out of Japan, and then that puts us into Friday, which is pretty much all low tier figures. The market services, manufacturing PMIs, and existing home sales. Not much of a catalyst here. And with the conventions going on for the Democratic Party and next week the Republican Party, there's going to be a lot of rhetoric, a lot of tweeting, a lot of whatever with this postal service issue and whatever else. Whatever whatever the next drama is for this government. But other than that, really not expecting all too much. Just keep your expectations tempered. I want to take this opportunity to say, if you have not looked at the brokerage that I launched about 4 months ago, EdgeClear, please give us a look see, especially if you're on Thinkorswim and are trading futures relatively seriously. The segment of the traders that I have paid a lot of attention to are those that want to be career professionals, and EdgeClear is designed just for that. We have some of the best brokers around, award-winning brokers, and I'm very excited about this venture. It really is another step in the direction of making a difference for traders. So give it a shot. If there's nothing going on in the market, you might as well talk to one of our brokers, right? So anyway, so I'll leave you with that. And then finally, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can go there directly by going to ft71.com/YouTube, all lowercase. If you've already subscribed, there's nothing for you to do but to hit the like button. Good luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow morning. Take care.